Welcome back to This Week in Big Sky Football. I'm Megan Robinson. Saturday will be a bit of a homecoming for Idaho State head coach Cody Hawkins. His dad is the former head coach for UC Davis. Plus, Hawkins himself spent 6 years as an assistant on the coaching staff, several of those under then offensive coordinator, now head coach Tim Plow. How will he feel being a visitor in Davis this weekend? Let's find out. Coach, several weeks ago before your Montana game, you said we talk about wanting to be a playoff team, and this is our chance as we're playing four straight games against 2024 playoff teams. What has this stretch taught you?
It's taught us just how important the details are. Coming down the stretch here, obviously did not play as well as we wanted against Montana State, but being just a couple plays away from the Northern Arizona game and the Montana game showed guys that were physically capable, but there's a competitive mentality, a competitive maturity that those playoff teams have. And we got to continue to work on executing in situational football, third down, red zone, end of half situations, end of game situations if we want to get where we want to go. And while that's been a little frustrating to go through some of these growing pains, I think there's actually been a growing confidence just because our guys have physically been able to play with some of those good teams. But now the ball's in our court to make the changes necessary to be successful.
As a coach, you can teach the X's and O's. How do you coach up your players to have that championship mentality?
I always try and do a really good job of pulling from different resources, whether they're interviews, and it might be football, it might be chess, it might be music, but trying to pull from other experts and talking about dealing with adversity. I think there needs to be a measure of confidence that we have in what we have done because you've been close. But if you're taking solace in it, that's also the wrong approach. You have to be able to continually attack and refine your process and know that you're on the right track, but it's still worth continuing to dig and push. And when people hear that from different angles, I think it helps hammer the point home a little bit.
Coach, you mentioned that your guys have learned that they physically can compete with some of these other teams. One of those guys who has been competing is Michael Shulikov. He is 10th in the nation in receiving yards. Why is he so hard to contain?
Mike Shulikov is just a big target. He's such an easy guy to see wherever he's at on the field, and he makes a great job, or does a great job making contested catches. There are even some plays where we'll get with him and just say, hey, Mike is the check down. Just throw it to Mike and something good will happen. And I just appreciate all the work that Michael has put in culturally for us and physically to get himself in a position to play. We appreciate his attitude and his work ethic and what it's done for our football team.
Coach, looking ahead to this week, you return to UC Davis, a place that has been a important part of your coaching journey. How do you think you'll feel being on that field, but this time as a head coach of the opposing team?
It's going to be weird. That was the place I got married there. I grew up there. I kind of became a coach there with a lot of other guys that are still on that staff and became a dad there. I mean, so many of my kids coming to practice and running around and rolling down the hills in the end zone. And I mean, Davis is a special place in my heart, but Pocatello has been very, very special and welcoming to us since we've been here. And this is home now. It'll be great to see a lot of coaches, but the way coaching is, you have friends on every staff. It'll be unique to have so many of them, but it's like any other game where you're evaluating the tape, and it's a great place to go play college football, a good opportunity for us and an opponent worthy of our respect, regardless of my relationships with folks on that staff. But I do appreciate the opportunity to go back. It'll be a little bit unique, but once they kick that ball off, it's all going to be about trying to do the things necessary to win.
Your offensive line has allowed only 3 sacks this season, the best in the Big Sky. However, they are facing Jacob Syke, who leads the Big Sky in sacks. How do they protect the quarterback this week?
So we'll definitely know where he's going to be at. We're going to make sure we allocate help accordingly, try and slide that way and do some things. But they've done a great job getting pressure. They're playing really well up front. Coach Coombs does a great job. Jerry Brady, Sykes' position coach, was actually in my wedding. So hopefully we'll be able to do the things necessary to mitigate his impact because he's a darn good football player. And I appreciate all the work that our offensive line, our quarterbacks, our running backs do to go into protecting the quarterback because that's a program decision.
What will it take to leave UC Davis with the win?
We're going to have to play good football, and it's not football that we're not capable of playing. We just have to have poise in those critical moments and find ways to create some turnovers. They're a dynamic offense, have a ton of respect for Coach Plow. He taught me so much. Coach Shelton does a great job there. But they're going to be hard to stop. We got to find ways to steal a few possessions where we can, and if we can steal a few possessions and make sure we get sixes instead of threes in the red zone, it'll be a good day for the Bengals and a tight one.
Ty Morrison's big night helped lead Montana to their 8th straight win. The Co Special Teams Player of the Week is here next.